I'm Don Matheson. How much money does one need to earn to be rich? Well, Ellis Henican tackles this topic in a recent column. Ellis is a Newsday columnist, and he's a Fox News contributor. Hi, Ellis.
Hey, Don. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you. Listen, this has become a hot topic during the recent debate over taxes. Republicans and Democrats fighting over to extend tax cuts, and where do you draw the line? $250,000, $1 million. In the end, everybody got their tax break. But here's the question. Is it the patriotic duty of the wealthy to pay a little more in taxes to help cut the deficit and fund government programs?
Well, sure. I mean, that's kind of the basis of our entire progressive tax system, which goes back to the earliest days of the 1900s. I mean, it's deeply enshrined in our law and our traditions. But you know what else is deeply enshrined? Is people who are better off hating it, feeling taken advantage of, feeling as if they're paying more than their share, and complaining loudly about it. We've gotten a bunch of that lately, haven't we?
We certainly have. You know, there used to be a graduated income tax where instead of having a half a dozen or so tax brackets, there were hundreds. Every $100 or so more that you made, you paid a slightly higher tax rate. Is that a better way to go or a worse way to go?
You know, it's a little harder to figure out, but given the tax programs that most people use and the fact that a lot of people with money hire accountants to do it for them, it wouldn't be a problem. But Don, it still doesn't answer kind of the basic question, which I think is, what is rich, and how is it that you convince people who have more money that they're rich? Because most people in our society, no matter what you make, you know, we all want to say, well, yeah, I'm a middle-class guy. That's all part of the very ethic of what it means to be an American, is no matter how rich you are, to consider yourself middle class.
So how do you define rich?
That's a really tough, and I'll tell you, I've had times that I made a lot of money and I felt broke, and I've had times that I was making no money and I felt just about as broke, including right now when I have the same $20 in my checking account that I did 20 years ago.
Now, wait a minute. Is that a function of how much you make or how much you spend?
Gosh, you know, do you think those two things might be connected? I mean, that's the problem. I am a total victim of taste inflation, right? The more I can afford, the better restaurants I want to go to, the better hotels I want to stay in, the better clothes I want to wear, although you may not be able to tell that by my attire today. But, you know, we all consider ourselves not rich. And I swear, you could do a poll of people who make $1 million a year or $10 million a year, and I'll bet you most of them would tell you, me? No. There's some other guy who's rich, but not me.
When I was working on Wall Street, I interviewed a CEO who that year had made over $500 million, and I asked him, well, what's it like suddenly having $500 million? And he said, well, you know, it didn't really change my lifestyle. I still drive the same car. I have the same family. We live in the same house. And I thought, oh, come on. You're not really answering the question.
Yeah, and you know what? If you told him he had to give you half of it, he'd probably feel really broke. I do have a definition, though, and I think this is one that applies to me, and I bet you to you and a lot of other folks. Rich is either the most I've ever made in my life, that's rich, right? I remember those days when I was making more money, and that felt rich. Rich is the money that the richest person that I actually know makes, right? That could be rich. And the other definition of rich, and maybe this is the one that really enters into this debate about how we should be taxed, is rich is that line that I could imagine myself at some way making. So we definitely don't want to increase taxes on anybody who makes up to an amount that I could one day see myself making, because, hey, that could affect me.
Ellis Henican is a Newsday columnist and a Fox News contributor. Thanks, Ellis.
Good to see you.